What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Your Cousins Are Critics, and this is episode 14. So today we are talking about a horror movie sequel to a classic horror movie from 1980. That is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. This is, of course, from 2019, Dr. Sleep. Sequel of The Shining, directed by Mike Flanagan, who did movies such as Gerald's Game, Ouija, Origin of Evil, Hush, and what was the other one I said earlier?
Oh, fuck, it was,
Oculus.
Oculus, yeah.
Movies I haven't seen yet.
I've watched all three of those other ones.
I said four of them.
Oh, what was the other one?
Gerald's Game?
Oh, I have not watched Gerald's Game.
Okay.
Okay, I don't watch that one.
Yeah.
But the other ones I have.
Okay. Yeah, and it stars Ewan McGregor, Rebecca Ferguson, and I forgot her name already. Kaylee Curran. Yeah, Kaylee Curran. Alright, so So this movie, I remember when I first heard about this movie, I was like, what? 30 years after The Shining, we're getting a sequel?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
But then I heard Ewan McGregor was playing a grown-up Danny Torrance. I'm like, oh, okay, because I love Ewan McGregor.
Yeah,
I love
too.
him as an actor, especially that. Hell, that was even before I saw Trainspotting. I still liked him, of course. The Star Wars prequels as Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Hello there, and also Big Fish.
Yeah.
Big Fish was the first non-Star Wars movie I saw with him. I remember.
I think me
and,
too.
Really?
Yeah.
And I remember I saw him. I'm like, hey, what is Obi-Wan Kenobi doing? But yeah, and Trainspotting, of course, is one of my all-time favorite films. But yeah, once I heard his name that he's playing Danny Torrance as an older Danny Torrance, I was like, okay. And I remember when I first saw it, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was like almost as good as the first movie. And then for the longest time, I never thought it was a better movie, but I did, however, kind of think that the story was better for a long time. I think I've even said that on an episode once. But I'll talk about that stuff later. Do you want to say about what you thought whenever this movie came out? What are you thinking? Because you liked The Shining a lot too. We both grew up on the show. Well, kind of. I don't know. Actually, I did later, but I think you grew up on it.
Yeah.
And I remember you showed me The Shining the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah. I like The Shining a lot. I think I caught part of it on TV one time. My parents were watching it.
Yeah.
And it was one of those moments, like, you know, when you're watching a movie that might be a little bit too much for a young person, and your parents, like, close your eyes, don't watch this.
Right.
I saw the scene where the bear was giving fellatio to, like, an old man. And the dude in the bear costume was giving the fellatio to the old man. And my mom was like, hey, don't watch that. And it was one of those things where I was like, this isn't just, like, a scary movie. Like, this is really weird.
Yeah.
And so I was very interested in horror movies in high school, and I still am. And so I had to, make a pit stop at The Shining. And I love that movie. It's fantastic. And whenever I heard that they were making a sequel, I kind of just... it didn't really faze me, because at that point, I feel like the point we're living in right now, like, the movie-making industry... It's just nasty. I mean, it's just making sequels. It's remaking everything. It's making a gabillion Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And I find all that shit
Disney remakes.
Yeah, I find all that shit really boring. Just because it's like, just make something new.
Yeah, and they don't make original good movies like they used to. Hollywood, that is. I mean, of course, independent studios and directors are still out there and still make great films. But yeah, and unfortunately, well, I don't think it's the main reason why, but probably a reason why there's a strike going on with the writers and actors at the moment. But
Oh well, that's just...
I know AI has to do with it too. But I kind of have a feeling it might be that too, because all that stuff is making more money than anything else. So.
I'm sure if I was a writer, I'd be really tired of being forced to write crappy movies.
Right.
But, and that's to say,
or a director too.
Yeah, and that's to say, like, hindsight's 2020. Like, I'm sure in the 80s, the 90s, 70s, all those years, there's a bunch of shitty fucking movies, and the good ones kind of get through the cracks, like nowadays too. You know what I mean? Like, there's like maybe 5 really spectacular movies every year. Some of them people care about, some of them no one cares about. So I'm not trying to shit on all movies that are being made or all art that's being made now, but it's overwhelming how bland pretty much every artistic field is right now. But anyway, that's another podcast.
Yeah.
But so I guess my background is just I didn't care. I forgot this movie was made, really, until he's mentioned it a few times. Jimmy's mentioned it a few times, and I was excited to watch it because with you, because like I just wouldn't have watched it otherwise.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't have given it a chance otherwise unless I was watching it with you for this podcast.
Right.
So my background's pretty much that. I just kind of didn't know what I was walking into. I like Ewan McGregor. I like The Shining a lot, and that was pretty much all I knew.
Right.
But, yeah, should we get into what's going on in this movie?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let's go. Take it away.
So I was trying to think about how I was going to talk about this, and I think it'll be fairly easy to say that there are a few main characters or groups that are very important in this movie. There's Danny, of course, Ewan McGregor, the son in The Shining, if you don't know.
Yeah.
Then there's Abra, who's a young girl who has the gift, The Shining, as well. And then there's basically, did they have a name? Like a crew name?
I don't remember.
There was a group of people who shine, but they're evil though. So like they find people, young people, children with the gift. They travel around, find them, kidnap them, and basically suck out their energy and stuff. Like vampires, kind of.
Yeah.
Without like biting. It's not blood. It's just literally like sucking out their life force and stuff. And they can live for like thousands of years and things like that through this. They die eventually, but they can live for a long time. And they usually keep a very similar form for most of that time. So these three groups intertwine as the movie goes along. But I think it'd be best to start with Danny. Danny's like a freaking alcoholic. He's having sex with people he don't really know. It's like one night standville. This guy's life is kind of in shambles. He's kind of homeless, kind of like migrant, walking around, has nothing going for him, and he's obviously drinking to dull out the memories and dull out his gift, dull off the Shining, so he doesn't. It's not as effective as it once was whenever he was a kid. And so his life's kind of nothing, but he gets drawn to go to this town. I don't remember what the name of the town was or what state it was in. It was New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Yeah. He gets drawn to go to New Hampshire for some reason. Ends up immediately meeting the nicest guy in the whole world named Billy. And Billy's kind of like a kindred spirit. He was obviously, we find out later, he was addicted to something. It doesn't go into what, I don't think. But so he hooks up Danny with a job. He takes him to AA. He helps Danny get clean. He hooks him up with an apartment.
Yeah.
Like, he's just the nicest guy ever. And hooks Danny up. So Danny's life is getting a lot better. And what's happening at the same time is he's starting to get visions or some sort of communication with Abra, this young girl who has the gift, and she's like very powerful. And so they're kind of starting to communicate like pen pals and stuff. And this is over like an 8-year period, I believe, right?
Yes.
For the reason.
She was 5 years old first, and then later, 8 years later, at 13.
Mm-hmm. And then all the while that this is happening, the crew of bad guys are like going around sucking souls out of people. And while they're sucking the soul out of a very good baseball player kid, Abra kind of locks onto the vision while she's sleeping. So she kind of sees what's happening and it freaks her out. It turns into a crazy nightmare. But the one of the lead bad guys, what was her name?
Rose.
Oh yeah. Rose recognizes that she's being watched. She's being observed by Abra. And then realizes that that's who they must kill next, because Abra's a very powerful mind, you know, and which means that once they suck her soul and take it all, it will keep them alive for longer because of the power of her mind. And so they end up, you know, on the hunt. They're trying to get her now. And then I don't even remember how did Danny meet with Abra in the first place? Like, how'd that happen?
Abra tracked him down
Yeah.
to where he was working at, like, what was it, at this park, but it was like this small town with like
Yeah.
a train, and he was like this little train where kids ride on. And he was driving the train.
It's very, very funny.
Yeah. But she finds him there, and
kind of explains the vision, right? She explains like kind of what happened. This little boy was murdered, right?
wait,
This movie's
did she tell him that there? I mean, she told him about it first beforehand.
oh, okay.
While
This movie was very long, by the way, so like,
Yeah.
my apologies.
that's all right. She didn't tell him about it there, right? Or at least not first. She probably said more information and whatnot there, but I can't remember what all the dialogue was there. But I don't know. I just remember, you know, because they communicated. Danny had this wall or a chalkboard kind of wall, whatever, and he would like write down. It was like messages to Abra, and then she would reply back, and it appeared on that wall too in chalk.
Yeah.
But and she said it there.
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah.
That's true. So I guess I'm just gonna try and get through this as quick as possible,
Okay.
and then we can actually get talking about it. But this movie was so long; it's like there's so much to cover. But so basically, she talks to him about all this stuff, and he's like, "Okay." She asks him, or she wants to go check it out. She wants to go dig up the body so that they can give it to the family, and at least that can, you know, they can be at rest and stuff. Abra does. And then, so Danny's like, no, I'm gonna go do it. And for some reason, he, like, asks his friend Billy to go with him, which I honestly don't understand, like, why. but
Well, to dig up the body.
I guess to help.
Just or the other thing too that they do.
Well,
later.
mainly dig up the body.
Okay.
I guess maybe he just thought he needed 2 hands or something.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
But he's like, okay, Billy, there's this girl.
He tries to explain to him.
Yeah, he says.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Which Billy doesn't have the shining.
No,
but
Billy's just a nice guy.
Right, but you know, I guess just he trusts Billy because you know they're close. They're close, yeah. So he's like his only friend besides Abra, but he like trusts him, so he tells him, I guess, this stuff, which he probably thinks he might not believe him and stuff, but he's still he's a nice enough guy. Maybe he will.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, so him and Billy go and dig up the body at like 4 a.m. And there's this moment where Billy's like, you know, if you're wrong about where this body is and why, then you're just crazy. Because Danny's like telling him that there's a a girl projecting her thoughts into my brain, and I'm answering them.
Yeah.
And so he's like, but if there is a dead body, then you obviously killed him, Danny. Like, he's like,
oh yeah,
which is crazy. And then they dig it up, and there's a dead body there. Okay, and then Billy just believes him. He just believes him that immediately after that, believes Danny, which is a good thing because Danny's right. And then they go meet up with Abra, and
sorry, go ahead.
her dad freaks out, but then Abra like does something to his brain, shows him all the images of the dead child, and then he believes them. And then they set up a trap because the freaking bad guys are showing up. They're trying to find her, and they set up a trap where I don't even know how to describe it. They like turned her into a teddy bear or whatever that was.
Something, It was a rabbit, and they used the rabbit like as a decoy. Or like I like to call, quote, Phantom Menace, a decoy. Sorry, this one's a decoy. Sorry, I had to do that. But
she projects herself on it. I guess. She projects herself on it. Meanwhile, and so they drive out to the middle of the woods, like a state park or something. She projects herself onto this rabbit doll, and all the bad guys come out and they're like, "We're gonna fucking take your soul and stuff." And then Danny and Billy just start sniping them, dude. And it becomes a gunfight. The bad guys whip out guns and start shooting and stuff. They kill every single bad guy there. But sadly, Billy.
that's there.
Yeah, Billy dies. Billy gets shot. He shoots himself in the head.
Should we explain how? Or we didn't even explain about the character.
Well, I think we'll get there later.
Okay.
I just want to get through this. But of course, there's more bad guys around, and one kidnaps the real Abra, who is still at her house the whole time, and is trying to take her back to where Rosie is, the main bad person. But Danny saves her. He jumps inside of her mind or whatever, causes things to happen. Blah blah blah. The bad guy who kidnapped her is dead. And then Danny knows that Rosie, the main bad guy, is going to come after them. So he decides that they need to go to the most dangerous place possible, the Overlook Hotel from the original Shining, because, apparently ghosts want to kill people with The Shining, apparently. I guess because that's where they went, and that's what they talked about, and it all commences in this sort of battle scene between the good guys and the bad guys, and the ghosts of the Overlook from the first movie end up killing Rosie, the main bad guy, dead. Then possess Ewan McGregor, Danny, to kill Abra, but she's really strong. She stops it, wakes him up out of the possession for a second, and he realizes what he must do, He turned on the boiler room when he first got there. He set everything up. And so he gets Abra out of there, and he goes to the boiler room where the ghost of Shelley Duvall comes up, his mom in the first movie.
Yeah.
And just kind of holds him.
Wendy.
Yeah, Wendy. Holds him while the flames consume him in the hotel. And so the hotel's gone. Ewan's dead. And Abra's back home with her mom. Her dad was murdered early in the movie. I forgot to tell you that, but it happened. And in the final scene, Ewan McGregor's there, but he's a ghost. So she can talk with them whenever they want to, and he's still around to protect her and be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, well, as a ghost, in the same way as before, as Dick Halloran, who was the chef at the Overlook in the first movie, he, because in the beginning, he talks to Danny too, this ghost, But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And then so her mom asks who she's talking to, and she's like, no one. But then she's like, it was Dan, and he's okay. And so is Daddy. He's okay. And then she sees the naked woman from the first movie in the fucking bathroom, and goes in there to put her in a box and
Yeah, Dick told Danny to do that early in the film.
yeah. Yeah,
Like, those ghosts are still going to haunt you, but you gotta trap them.
Yeah, you gotta trap them. And
Yeah.
so that's what she did. And then the movie over.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't even know where to start with this movie. It was a lot. I think because of the length, and because there was like a lot of repeating motifs that are sort of important to the movie, like the whole box thing, like you just said, was like extremely important.
Yeah, you didn't even mention that at first.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I had to just say that.
I was like trying to get the big points of like what happened in the movie, and then get out of
Yeah,
it.
there's a lot in this movie that a little too much. I think
It's
and
like
that's already an issue.
Doctor Sleep was a book, right? It was definitely
Yes, I believe so.
You can get that vibe off of this. This feels like a book movie.
Yes,
because it's
was. By Stephen King,
Yeah.
of course. Which I didn't even know that until this movie was announced. That, or at least, yeah, I didn't even know that he wrote a sequel either for the longest time. But I don't know when that came out. Probably sometime after the movie. After the Shining movie came out.
I don't remember, but anyway, yeah, this movie definitely felt like it was based on a book because it was just. But there's a lot.
Yeah,
man.
as with the first movie, that had changed a lot from the original book to the point where Stephen King himself hated it.
Which might.
I'm not sure how accurate this is to the book, but
I don't know, but which might listen. I mean, I guess I should just say this now because I told you this during the movie. The only reason why I thought I liked Stephen King was because of Stanley Kubrick and Tim Curry. That's it. That's it. Everything else that I've seen of his has just been like this overcooked. Like, and I'm talking in movie form.
Well, what about the non-horror stuff like Stand By Me, Green Mile?
Those are okay
Shawshank?
movies. I mean, I probably would never watch them again, but they're movies. They're not really my thing, but as far as horror goes, it's like it's overcooked. Like it's hard to put into a movie.
We already did a Stephen King movie on the channel, Carrie.
Yeah,
we talked about Carrie, and
that one's okay. I mean, it's like it's like.
I mean, it could have been worse, I guess, but it could have been.
I guess what I'm saying it just isn't.
Piper Laurie ruined it for me.
In far as like a story that you could make a movie of, that's a pretty easy prompt. But like this is such a long, thick thing. It is such a long, thick thing.
The original. Yeah. That one goes by pretty fast though. Whenever I watch, I haven't seen it.
Well, I
in a
mean,
while.
I saw the other ones too, the newer ones. And it's just like
those yet.
bloated.
I'm not even sure if I want to. I did at first, but I don't know.
You could pass.
I know Bill Skarsgård won't be as good as Tim Curry for sure.
Yeah, that's a tough fucking battle. But man, this movie, I just don't. I don't even know where to start with it, dude. Like, I just don't get. I think my bone to pick is with the director, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because all of his movies, Mike Flanagan, your shots look beautiful, whatever, you're a good technical director, but your movies look so boring, bro. Like, come on. I was telling Jane, I kept on like laughing at the fucking main villain of this movie because she looks like she bought her clothes at fucking Old Navy. Come the fuck on, that's not cool. Like if you have the Lost Boys, those villains in that movie.
The vampire movie.
Yeah, mullets, leather jackets, cigarettes, earrings, crazy, okay? Fantastic. And I'm not saying you have to make like every villain look like that, but I'm saying if you have a villain, you got to make it look cool or scary. This lady was not, dude. I was like, oh my god, she's drinking IPAs at the bar, dude. It was bad. It was bad.
I will say, I mean, I told you while we saw it, but like, okay, rewatching it, no, I wasn't scared by her, but I actually was terrified of, I think it was mostly her performance.
Yes.
Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah.
I was terrified of Rose. I think mostly just because of the performance, just how, because I thought she was scary because of just like, how, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, like in the first scene, we didn't talk about, but the first scene, it starts with Rose. Well, okay, it starts with this girl, Violet is her name. She goes, and it actually takes place in 1980, which, from the first movie. Well, that's when the first movie came out, but also according to this movie, that's also the year of the events of The Shining as well. But so anyways, this little girl Violet, who I guess is like a trailer park or something, like close. It's like close to the lake or something.
Might have been under like campgrounds,
right? But she goes wandering off. She tells her mom, "Hey, I'm gonna go play over here." She's like, "All right, you be careful." And she goes off like near like a lake or something, where this woman, who, I mean, looks normal.
Looks like a hippie, yeah.
Yeah, looks, when you first see her, looks normal, and she's smiling and stuff. She seems nice and all, and she's like showing Violet this magic trick that she does with these flowers and her hat and stuff. And then all of a sudden you see these other people. Like, first you see one person just like looking fucking creepy as fuck, just standing there out in the woods, and she's like, "Oh, don't mind him. He's my friend." I'm like,
it's like shot like an A24 thing. It's like cheap ass A24.
Oh yeah,
Or just people standing straight,
right,
and, like staring.
Yeah, and the rest do too. Like,
yeah, like it's like
they
10 people at the end of it.
Yeah, they look the complete opposite as she does, because she looks normal-ish, I guess. I mean, it does come off creepy later, of course, but yeah, but in that scene, she again, she appears normal, nice, and shit, and she actually is like that for the rest of the film. But of course, after you see that scene, then yeah, you're creeped out by her.
Yeah,
even though she's still acting exactly the same. That's how she acts pretty much throughout the film. I mean, she does get mad and stuff, but even that doesn't like show her like looking like really angry and shit.
Yeah, she doesn't look like a monster.
For most of the film, pretty much all of it, she just has like this face. She's like smiling a little. She has this little smile, and that's so. But that later, first it's all right, but then later, after that first scene, it's creepy as fuck, and I was really terrified by her going in when I first saw this movie, which that happens whenever you first watch movies. I mean, like Blue Velvet, for example, I was terrified of Frank Booth when I first saw the movie, but then now every time I watch it, I just laugh at him because he's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say Rebecca Ferguson was funny, but she's just like,
Well, the deal.
I still think it's creepy, and I do think she was very good in the movie.
The deal is, if you dress her up like she's an Old Navy commercial, she can't.
I've never even thought about that.
She can't be creepy. Or okay, if you're trying to make people who look sort of normal, make them look like... Because the deal is, the crew, all these homies hanging out together, they're basically like Dollar General Louisiana vampires. It sucked. It was like, okay, these are the people I don't like. Like, these are the bad guys. They're not even wearing, like, cool... things. Like, if they're sexy kind of vampire people who live forever and suck on souls and, like, have euphoria whenever they're sucking on souls, make them look interesting. Don't make them look like they're in a fucking Kohl's commercial.
You know, I will say I wasn't expecting you to complain about that. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it whenever I watched it, but now there is something I'm sure we'll get to later that I did expect you not to like, but we'll get to that later. But that I was like, oh wow, okay.
Well, the thing is, and I guess like I've never like explained this fully to you, because I know like I talk about how important visuals are to a movie.
Yeah.
If a story can be cool, like the story in this movie's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's about overcoming trauma and stuff, and freeing yourself from that pain and spreading goodness to other people. That's a good story. That's a good moral. The story's fine, but if you dress it up in the most bland visuals possible, just repurpose shit from 50 years ago, 40 years ago, your shit's gonna suck.
You're talking about those scenes that they recreated from the first movie?
Yes, because, okay, if those... this movie... Dude, I just... It represents so much that I don't like. Like, it blew my mind, like... Also, horrible... I don't even know if I would call this a scary movie, because you and I were laughing through it more than anything else.
I was mostly just laughing at our jokes, of course, what you were saying,
but like, you can't joke through Hereditary or something. Like that, you can't... I mean, you can try, but...
we probably did, but not like...
Not like this, though.
Yeah.
You're still gonna freak out when you see her fucking cutting her head off. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, this movie is just funny. Like, it just...
I did say, like, at the party scene in Hereditary, spoiler... Well, maybe I don't know. But the party scene, you know, with Alex Wolff, whatever, and Charlie comes in, I'm like, hey, what are you cock-blocking him for? Because he's trying to get with this girl. But, yeah.
But, I mean, there's nothing in the movie...
Right.
That would make...
But, of course, that wasn't, like, a horror element anyway, so...
Yeah. So,
yeah, that's just, like, one of the normal things, I guess, you could say, in the movies, but...
This movie just... Okay. I guess I'm steering the ship into... This is the problem with making sequels, especially, like, 40 years after, or at all, if you don't need to make a sequel. Is like, okay, you have a visual... And honestly, like a horror masterpiece in The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Visually interesting, one of the best directors of all time, made it. Spectacular. How are you going to one-up it? Or how are you going to make an equally as good movie without spending ample time in the visuals? This just like... You know whenever you eat a lot of food really fast, and then sometimes you burp and a little bit of it comes up?
Yeah. That's
what this movie is. It's just burping up old images, using CGI to make it. CGI Jack Torrance, huh? Like, was that a real guy, or was that even fucking CGI?
Actually, that was a real guy, and guess who played him, by the way?
Who?
I looked it up. I mean, I don't think you've seen the movie, but those of y'all who have, it was actually the kid... Elliot from E.T. The kid from E.T. That's who played Jack Torrance in this movie. Henry Thomas, that's his name.
Wow, still getting word.
That was, and that's kind of random, honestly, that he was in this as Jack Torrance of all people. Now, I understand not casting Jack Nicholson, because for one thing, he's retired, but also, like, even if he wasn't, I don't know if they could, like, make him look younger or something.
Do the Arnold treatment?
Oh, from
they did
Terminator Salvation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and fucking, they also do it in Star Wars and Mandalorian. They literally did Luke Skywalker as just like and they make him look pretty much real, like he did in like Return of the Jedi.
Oh.
Yeah, but
you could, dude, this movie is so...
And they have a different actress who played Wendy too, and also
those
Dick Halloran.
I understand.
Yeah, I will say,
necessary.
I thought the guy who played Dick Halloran, I thought he was pretty good. Like, of course, Scatman Crothers from the original was better, but he but I thought he was pretty good, and he sounded a lot like him too. Like his voice was very similar, and to Scatman Crothers. But although I will say, whoever played Wendy, she was like trying her best to try to sound like fucking Shelley Duvall, and I thought that was kind of weird. I'm like,
it just wasn't flowing.
I mean, I guess I get it, but still, like, it's just weird.
I mean, dude,
All those, well, Scatman Crothers I think is dead, but
yeah.
but Shelley Duvall and Jack Nicholson, you know, I think they're both retired anyways.
Yeah.
And also, you know, they can't make them look younger, so at least not like that, you know. But
Bro,
anyway,
the deal, this movie is so heavy-handed, it was like making me like wince. I was like, what? They didn't have to show. Listen, okay, imagine this. I'm talking to you, only you.
All right.
Imagine this. The bar scene. So to explain this, Danny goes into the bar, the same one from the original movie, and guess who's the bartender? Oops, it's his dad. But
Yeah,
his dad's...
who says his name is Lloyd, which
Yeah.
was the name of the bartender in the first movie.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay, and it's like a whole big thing. Like, it like pans to him, and it's fucking half, you know, it's like balding guy who looks like Jack Nicholson, okay?
Yeah, but it's Henry Thomas instead.
I'm gonna ask you this. Okay, think about this.
Oh, okay.
Most of the scene... Okay, let's have a hypothetical. Most of the scene is just showing Danny, Ewan McGregor.
Right.
And then when it needs to when it needs to tell the audience that he's talking to his dad, it just shows his hands, Jack's hands, and has Jack Nicholson's voice. Wouldn't that be a more powerful fucking thing than just flipping over and it's some dude who kind of looks like Jack Nicholson? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this movie, it's showing, like, flashbacks, and I'm just like, God, we watched the movie. It's, like, one of the most famous movies of all time. We don't need flashbacks.
Right.
The audience is not dumb, or should not be treated like that.
I did think you were going to have a problem with that,
It's
and
like-
and I do too, honestly. Like, even first time watching it, well, I don't know if I had problems with the flashbacks, but I did have problems with that third act,
Yeah.
where they were like just like shoving after they kill Rose. They just all of a sudden Rose is gone. She's no longer the villain. Now we got the ghost of the Overlook. Now they're the villains, and it's like, what? Because they didn't even focus on that at all in the rest of the story.
Yeah, they'd be like, other than the box thing, other than right, other than the box, there's nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, okay, guess what happens after Rose dies?
He did set
They
them
possess-
free too.
Yeah, he had to set them free to go against Rose, and then they turn on him.
Yeah.
And guess what happened? They possessed Danny Torrance and kind of turned him into his dad.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
the
they
fucking
turned him
ass?
into fucking
So
Jack
dumb.
to Jack Torrance.
Oh.
Just like whenever he was chasing Danny in the first movie.
Yeah.
Now, Danny is chasing Abra, going Abra with the axe and shit. With the exact same walk too that he had in the fucking maze. No, I did. I had problems with that even the first time watching it. That was the only thing I had problems with. Was that third act. I wouldn't say quite the ending, but the climax, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like, I did have problems with that. That was the only issue I had with it going into this movie. The first time I saw it.
Yeah.
And that's definitely the biggest issue I have with it. I still, maybe even more so, because now I almost hate it.
Yeah, I despise it. I find this.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
It's stupid, honestly.
It's like, why make this movie if you're going to do that?
Yeah,
Like, I just can't.
was that
believe
even?
it.
I don't even. That can't be in the book, can it?
Stephen King is kind of a dork. He might be.
Okay,
It might
well,
be. Bro.
but that just feels like, and that's what sequels today do. After 20, 30 years, they're like, hey, remember this? Remember this? Remember this? You know, that's what they do. That's like, I haven't seen it. But I heard about the last Matrix movie. That's basically all that was just just remember this, you know. So
It's like you're not watching a piece of art. You're just buying some cheap
Yeah.
nostalgia. And I mean low grade, shitty
Yeah.
ass nostalgia. This shit is
yeah,
bottom
I mean,
shelf.
thankfully that's not like the whole story. You know, they do
Yeah.
stuff differently,
That's true.
and and I am glad for that. And the stuff they do is interesting too, like the new stuff that they add in and whatnot. Even just like the villains themselves, just the idea of them, you know, about these people who, you know,
Yeah.
suck the life out of children so they can be younger. Like, that's really interesting for a movie. Maybe not a sequel for The Shining. They could have just did that for like its own movie, you know, like.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Like, see, that's what a sequel should do. I mean, sure, of course, you know, have a little bit of original characters from the original movie, and maybe, I don't know, maybe a little bit of not nostalgia, but like nods, I guess you can call them, to the first movie. But not like, you know, overload.
Sometimes you need them.
Right.
Like sometimes the deal is like if it's using these things from the first movie to tell a more full story, that's almost not even nods anymore. That's just using what was there before to expand upon these characters now. That's just storytelling.
Yeah.
This shit is not that.
Yeah. That last or at least the climax with those ghosts possessing Danny and all that stuff, that had nothing to do with the main story.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's just so dumb that they did that. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if they should have even gone to the Overlook in the first
It
place.
was so unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, you know, his excuse was like, well, this is, I think, the only place we can get her is at this place because this place is evil. So these guys can take care of her. Which, all right.
Wait, but do you remember how they killed all the other fucking Soul Eaters? With a fucking gun. That's all you fucking need, is just to shoot them in the head. Done. Or in the heart. Done. They're dead. And yet this guy's like, let's go to where I had a bunch of trauma. And then fucking, you know. It's just so, it's mind-blowing to me that they could do
You're
both.
right.
It's like, obviously, this movie decided at the end that it was going to be about, and through the whole movie there was some tangents of like trauma and stuff, which is very popular in horror right now. Like basically every 1 in 3 horror movies is like about someone facing their trauma, which is a good idea for a horror movie, but now it's like just overflowing. There's just so many movies like that, and this is another one, and it is just, it's just wow. Like I just can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, it just made me think. Movies like this make me think, like, oh, like, what if you and me had millions of dollars to make a movie? It would probably suck, but it would look a lot different than this. Like, it would be a lot different than this. Which is
even better.
Egotistical thing to say, I know. I'm sorry. But there's just a fleeting thought that I have whenever I watch stuff like this. Like, it's just crazy that people spent a lot of money on this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I
got a question.
Okay, go ahead.
How many scenes was the naked woman in the original? Maybe 2 max?
I think only 1.
Isn't that something interesting?
I think. Yeah, I think it was just 1, if I remember correctly. I think so, yeah.
That's the fucking difference, baby.
Yeah,
that's the fucking difference.
It was like at least like 5 times in this movie.
It's like she's not scary. She's just some naked woman in a shower. And then,
I mean, when you watch it in the first movie for the first time, sure, it's pretty terrifying. But
and it's like,
although her laugh in the original movie kind of made me not scared
and
at
Jack
first because it
Nicholson's
was
face, he's like, oh, it's funny. But like,
First, it was of course like a beautiful woman, you know, coming out, a beautiful naked woman coming out of the shower. And I love his face, by the way. Whenever he changes, he's like, first he's like kind of, but then when he sees her, he's like,
yeah, he's kind of like, yeah. But the thing is, okay, that whole movie was was in a confined space. It was in a hotel or motel. Hotel. Yes,
yeah.
hotel. And it just served that scene at the very least. I'm sure there was symbolism and other things that people meant it to mean. But at the very least, it's just the hotel fucking with him.
You're talking about the first movie?
Yeah. Like, it's just a hotel getting in this man's head and fucking him. Like, driving him
Right.
crazy. So she doesn't have to be in every fucking scary scene.
Yeah.
In this movie, she's used just as cannon fodder. It's like, remember this from the first one? Wasn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And it's just... I'm surprised they didn't use the twins more. I honestly thought that
I am too, actually.
I thought that they were going to have the twins in every fucking scene.
Because that's like the most memorable thing.
Yeah.
I felt like the naked lady was in it more, but that's like the memorable, that and the blood from the elevator. Like those two things are like the most memorable things about the movie. And of course here's Johnny, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I think, you know what I think it is?
Oh yeah, they didn't even say "Here's Johnny" in this movie.
Which, thank God.
or here's Danny. But
If they said that, I would have like pulled out a gun and shot the screen, because that would have been fucking crazy.
yeah, Jimmy, turn this movie off. We're done here.
But do you know why?
No podcast. Sorry.
Do you know why I think they had the naked woman a lot?
Why?
It's because I got the vibe off this movie that it was kind of trying to be like, it was trying to be scary in the way that like A24 movies are.
Yeah.
Like with people just standing.
I can see that. Yeah, they were like, because this is 2019, and oh man, A24 during that time. I mean,
was like,
before that they had, the year before they had Hereditary, and that really helped them, and they got Moonlight, which won Best Picture, and other movies and whatnot. That year they had Midsommar and Uncut Gems, but 2019. That's probably what they were thinking. It was like, let's make this like an A24 horror movie.
Yeah.
Well, you should have had A24 produce it then.
Yeah, honestly.
And instead, they have Warner Brothers who did the original movie, but
yeah.
And it even starts with the like an old school logo with the theme song. Well, I don't want to sing it for copyright reasons, but I love the Shining
It's fantastic.
song, by the way. But
yeah,
I think it was like a new recorded version of it. Though.
It sounded.
But,
it was. See, that was. I enjoyed that. That was a good nod. Have something kind of new.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, like at least have the which I'm trying to remember. I don't think they had the song that much in the movie. I think they just had it at the opening, and I think they did play it whenever they were driving to the Overlook.
Yeah,
I think that's it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So I'm glad they didn't overuse that.
Yeah, me too.
Although I will say, I don't remember the actual. Besides that, I don't remember the actual score.
I was about to say the same thing.
I can't remember. I mean, I'm sure there was a score, but I can't remember how it sounded.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing who does the music here, but I don't even see it. But but no, if there was a score, I know they had that song that was in the original movie too, with that old classical, like you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
That scene when. Well, it was actually playing at the end of the end of both movies with but the old classical music that they were playing like in the ball scene and in the original Shining or the party scene, whatever. But other than those, I can't think of what else was in it.
Was not
weird.
Yeah,
so it's not memorable at all, like the original score was for the movie. Because that's a timeless score right there. That soundtrack is just
Also, the stereotypical like jump scare noises it was so crazy.
I don't even remember.
There was a few of them. There wasn't many, which I was like, okay, but I was expecting zero stereotypical like
really
noises. Yeah, because I was like, okay, The Shining, the original, of course, had like jump scares, but back then it was played different.
They had jump scares, like they had a few times with the title cards that said like Monday, Tuesday. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
They had it like it was like and it said Tuesday. I watch movie reactions on YouTube, and there's been a couple of times where the YouTubers, it would scare the shit out of them when that appears, and it's really funny. But
just to see, like, what I'm talking about is whenever, I believe it's Abra. Yeah, it's Abra. Turns a corner in the Overlook, and there's the fucking twins, and there's a sound, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
that's it's so bad. It's like, dude.
I think that was in the original movie, wasn't it? Whenever Danny turns around and turns and on his trike and sees them.
Yeah,
it had that noise or something.
A
little off topic, but I did think there was like a funny jump noise, whatever, in the original film, because it like ended the song that was playing, like this creepy, almost kind of scary music that was playing. But it was the scene where Wendy comes in while Jack is typing on his typewriter, and she's like checking up on him, and is playing this creepy music, and then she's like, "You about done, honey," or something, and he pulls out a paper, and it does that. It goes dun! Like while he pulls the paper out, which is actually kind of funny.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah. Jump scares.
Okay, jump scares can be.
Oh, this
good.
might be a long episode. We're already almost at the hour.
Crazy. Jump scares can be good.
Because I still got some stuff to talk about.
I'm about to just switch it over to you 100%. Because I think I've pretty much voiced a lot of my feelings. But I will say this just for horror movie's sake. Jump scares can be good if it's not cheap. And just make the sound yourself. Just like, don't use your stereotypical sounds. Make it different. Make it sound like, scarier. Don't use the stereotypical sounds, and don't make your movie look like every other fucking movie. That's fucking lunacy. You can't scare people if people are seeing something they've seen a million times.
Yeah.
So do not do that. Make something different. Okay, on to Jimmy.
All right.
Let me hear it.
So, I guess we could talk about some positives.
Yeah.
I think one of the main. Okay. All right. Before I jump into I was going to talk about the performances, but I'll get that in a minute. I will say, for the most part, this movie is pretty well written, and I do like the story. And I will say, I think I might have said this earlier, but like before, I thought that the story was better than the original movie, and to some extent, I still kind of think that, because I do think it's more interesting than the first movie in terms of the story, because it does focus more on The Shining, and that's kind of the thing right there, is that the first movie didn't really focus on it as much.
Yeah.
But yet the movie is called The Shining, but it focuses more on Jack Torrance more than his son, who has The Shining.
I think that's the Stanley Kubrick effect, isn't it? I think that's what. That might have been. I might be wrong, but that might be one of the reasons why Stephen King didn't like it.
Okay,
is because Stanley Kubrick made it.
On him,
he
on
made
Jack.
it. Yeah, he made it more about like a man losing his mind and going.
Okay,
insane.
All right, that makes sense then. But I guess the original book it focused more on Danny.
Might have been more of a mix. Yeah, more of a little bit of both.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, they should have just changed the name of the movie then, because the Shining barely does anything in that original movie. So that's like kind of a thing that I will say about the original movie, because I do think it's a pretty good script and all and story, but but yeah, I think that's probably the main issue I have with that first movie now is it's called The Shining, but it doesn't focus on it as much. But that's pretty much all I have with that movie. Other than that, I think the original movie, I think is pretty much a masterpiece. I've seen all Stanley Kubrick's films, and I think that's his best shot film. The cinematography in that film is fantastic. Every single shot looks like a fucking piece of art.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so good.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's so good. And I of course the performances, Nicholson, Danny Lloyd, who plays Danny, and even Shelley Duvall, who was
tortured.
Poor woman, man. Poor woman. a lot of people kind of gave her shit and said like she's not good in the movie, which I disagree.
That's crazy.
I do think she was even originally nominated for. Have you ever heard of the Razzies? They're like the anti-Oscars, and they're about the worst stuff. She was nominated for worst either actress or supporting actress, however, the Razzies did take her. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter now because that was years ago, but they did take her off of that list of actresses that were nominated just because they felt bad for Shelley Duvall, of what Stanley Kubrick did, which good, but also
it's stupid.
They should have just done that they shouldn't just nominate her in the first place.
It doesn't make any sense because
then again, they also nominated Danny DeVito in Batman Returns, and he was as the Penguin. He was great as the Penguin. I don't understand why he got nominated for that as one of the worst actors, but that's beside the point.
I gotta ask this question.
What?
How the fuck else would Shelley Duvall act? Like okay, she's being abused by her husband in the movie the whole time. And then also actually, she's getting abused by the director in real life. So that's kind of like that makes total sense for a character. That's just
Stanley. I mean, I know Stanley Kubrick's dead. Stanley Kubrick's dead, so I can't wish any death upon him, obviously.
But fuck you, Stanley.
But yeah, great director. But God, I hated him as I hate him as a person, though.
Hey, you goofy looking ass.
But he's dead, so yeah. But no. Anyways, though, the performances in that movie was great and everything else. Of course, the score and now this and so that movie was as filmmaking goes, it's definitely 10 times better than this movie. And I even thought that before too. It's like no, it's definitely not a better movie than The Shining. But however, Dr. Sleep does have a more of an interesting story because, like I said, it focuses more on The Shining, and that's pretty cool. And I do think they did it pretty well when it came to like focusing more on it and whatnot, and introducing more stuff. Like I said, those people who suck the life out of kids to make them feel younger. Like that's a really interesting idea. Like I said,
the evil shiners.
Yeah. So this movie does have some good stuff in it, and it has some really good, interesting ideas that. Yeah. And for the most part, were played pretty well. But then again, it kind of almost ruins it with the fucking nostalgia of the first movie. So, but aside from that, I think the story for the most part was pretty good. Would you say so?
I would say so. Yeah, I almost agree with everything you said there. Like, I think it's good on paper, but they just executed things very poorly visually. Yeah. Actors were fine. Okay. I'd say every performance was pretty good. Abra's was funny because it was like, again, like there was like 50 million characters. She did a good job, but there was like 50 million characters that are the same like powerful kid character from this era. That's like that was such a rough era.
What do you mean exactly?
Like kid who has like superpowers and is like kind of strong and confident.
Oh yeah.
There was just so many of them.
I haven't seen too many of them.
I was just like, come on.
I thought she was great. Let me see her name again. I already forgot. Caitlin something, I think.
Or Kylie
Curran. No, Kylie Curran. Kylie Curran. Yeah.
I think, man, it's just if they spent more time on the visuals, I think this movie could have made something interesting, but they didn't.
That was a thing you had a problem with in Last Night in Soho, which was another.
It reminds me of this movie.
Oh.
Yeah. What did I give that? Do you remember? Like a 4?
You gave that a 5 then.
Give it a 5.
But you've said that you'll give a lot lower now. But But yeah, that was a problem you had with that movie. You didn't like the visuals. I didn't mind the visuals actually in that movie.
Yeah.
I kind of did. I didn't really care for all of the visuals in this, or a lot of the visuals in this movie. Honestly, like a lot of it looked very bland, generic, just horror movie shit, and that kind of makes me worried about watching other Mike Flanagan movies too. Do they kind of look like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hush is the most boring. I remember when that came out, people were talking. They were like, "Wow, this movie's crazy." Cool.
Really?
Yeah, because this girl's alone in her house. She's deaf, so she can't hear shit. And there's a dude who wants to kill her. That's the whole fucking movie. Boringest looking movie I've ever seen.
That doesn't even sound like a very interesting movie.
It's not.
Like that idea that you just said doesn't sound that interesting.
And then that was just the whole
maybe for like a book, but for like
or a
movie.
short film, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a short film. Or maybe like if you're like for example like American Horror Story, if they were like to do an episode on that, or even the Twilight Zone, but I don't know if Twilight Zone ever did like horror serial killers. So they did have that doll, I remember.
Yeah, that was. But they're very like. Oh, I can't even think of the word, but there was always some sort of weird element. There was never like a straight ahead killer. I don't think.
If it was like. That sounds like an alright idea for like an episode of a anthology horror show. But that doesn't sound like a great idea for like a full feature length film though.
As someone who really loves horror movies, you might like Oculus or Ouija Origin of Evil, which is weird because Ouija Origin of Evil is a sequel, but it's a million times.
That's what I've heard. I've heard a lot of people say that the original was terrible.
Yeah.
But the sequel is much better.
Yeah. So maybe give those a try if you're absolutely interested.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched Gerald's Game, but that one looks visually interesting, and I think it is very gory in some parts, which I might have to watch that one, to be honest, because of the images that I've seen, it's very interesting.
I might do a Mike Flanagan ranking in the future. We'll see.
Yeah. But man,
those y'all who watched my director ranking videos. But
what I've seen, I just don't get it. I don't get why he's making horror movies. I don't understand.
I'm actually surprised he hasn't made a Marvel movie yet because
that's the way it seems.
Because there's been a lot of horror movie directors that went on that sold out and started doing like Marvel or just superhero movies in general. Like you heard of James Wan?
Yeah.
He did the original Saw, and he did first two Conjuring, the first two Insidious movies. He did also Aquaman and one of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Hey, you want to hear something?
What?
Fuck James Wan. You suck. Your movies I'm just one guy. But, bro, see, that's the thing. Guess who started this all? This style. James Wan.
I can see that.
It's like
Saw.
Like
Saw, yeah.
Saw's a fun movie. I'll admit. I do like that.
I'll check out at least the first Saw. I don't know about the sequels.
It's basically like The Room of horror movies. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, it's so low budget. I enjoy that movie. Honestly.
Like so bad it's good, or
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I just remember the Scary Movie 4, I think, with the reference with it had fucking Shaq and Dr. Phil.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever watch that?
I remember seeing like images.
That was really funny. That's the only close thing I've ever seen of Saw was Scary Movie 4.
James Wan put us all in hell. It's crazy, dude.
I don't think I've seen any of his movies.
The Conjurings can freaking blow one. All the Insidious can blow one. So boring. Like, Jesus, man.
That's funny. I'm sorry if this is our longest episode, by the way. I think it will be.
This just, like, hurt me. As someone who watches a lot of horror movies, this just, like, hit me. And I was like, oh my God. Like, how... Come on.
Alright. So, let's talk about Ewan McGregor. What do you think about him?
The deal with Ewan, he's always sturdy, always a good actor, but I think that's where he stays. Like he always has good performances, but I feel like I'm never blown away by his performance as like
Really?
emotionally, like he's a good actor.
Emotionally.
He's good. He's a good actor. He's always sturdy. He does the job. He's fantastic. But does he make me want to cry ever? No. Does he make me like, you know? Yeah. So I mean, he's good. It's just
thinking.
It's just he's just not.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like thinking back, I can't think of a performance he did that. I mean, I'm sure there might be something that I'm missing that I haven't seen yet. But yeah, something that's like emotional. I mean, you could say in some ways Train Spotting because he's addicted to heroin, and there's just some scenes where he's trying to get better and stuff. But that movie itself, I mean, of course, it does have some sad parts and some sad elements in it and stuff. I mean, the idea of heroin, is very sad. Someone who's addicted to it, and overdoses. But that movie is mostly a comedy, so it and it does it very well too.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, but the comedy really works with that. But his performance in that movie isn't like emotional. It's mostly just like funny and whatnot.
And I guess what I'm trying to say, it doesn't bring a lot of heavy emotions out of me.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't hit me in like my chest and like grab me and rip my guts out or something. Which not every actor has to do that, and that's not always the best thing for a movie. But yeah, he did a good job. Good actor.
Yeah. No, what about? And of course, they had some emotion. Tried to pull off some emotional stuff in this movie with him, kicking his habit, his alcoholism, but also his trauma as well. Like, what do you think he did with that?
Well, see, those things, like, those are great ideas for a movie and a story. But if you don't make me care...
Well, I mean, like, his performance.
His performance is fine. That's what I'm saying. Like, his performance is fine. But if the rest of the movie is so bland, like...
You just didn't really care about that stuff because of that. Okay.
And I knew he was going to be through the movie the whole time.
Yeah.
Or I just figured he would be through the movie the whole time, which he was. And so it was just like, those things didn't faze me. I was like, oh, this is a movie trying to make me feel things in the way that most movies try to do. So I was just kind of just like unfazed. I think I was unfazed by this whole movie. Like, you know what I mean? Which is so crazy. You know what I mean?
What do you... Okay, I'm sorry.
Unfazed?
Yeah, well, I'm ignorant here.
Oh, no, you're good.
What does unfazed mean?
I didn't feel anything through this whole movie. Like, I didn't feel any, like, big emotion or positive emotion other than, like, me and you laughing.
You did... There was a scene where you were cheering on with, Danny and Billy whenever they were killing those people.
That's true. Because and
was that your favorite scene, by the way?
Yes, because I tell you what. Because, like, 5 minutes before the scene happened, where they shoot all these fucking scumbags, I was like, just shoot them. I was like, I want to get a machine gun and shoot all these people because I just fucking hate them so much.
You did actually
and
say
then
that.
It happened, and so I felt
I
like...
forgot!
I felt vilified. I was like, yeah, dude. So...
That's hilarious.
So, yeah, I mean, it's like...
Oh,
I guess my thing is, like, okay, if the acting is okay, or if it's good, that's fine if the visuals are fantastic. Because it can make the acting seem better than what it is. But if the visuals suck and the acting is good, just good, then it's going to be hard to make an interesting movie.
Okay.
To me.
Okay.
So, like, everyone in this movie, I think, did a good job.
Right.
As an actor. And even the writing's good. But, good enough. But it just, minus all the callbacks and all those things. But other than that, there's just nothing.
Yeah. I did have some issues with the editing at certain parts, too. It was alright for the most part, but there were, like, certain parts where, stuff happened too quick and whatnot. Cinematography, so. I mean, definitely not the first movie.
No.
Cinematography, that's for sure. Like I said, any shot from that movie can be like a like you could hang it on your wall, be like a piece of art.
Yeah,
This one, I mean, other than the fucking Overlook Hotel that they bring back in this movie and shit. Even, like, on the fucking title screen, they, like, show fucking Danny Torrance again on his fucking trike, going through the fucking hallway, and all that shit. So,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't... The more I think about it, the more the nostalgia pisses me off. The more I think about it.
Yeah.
Why? A little bit, sure, but not like... I mean, you know, there is a good... You know, in the middle, they don't do all too much of it.
Yeah.
Which, good. But, like... A little bit in the first act they do, and then pretty much all through the fucking third act, it's almost exactly like the first fucking movie.
You know what it made me think about?
What?
You remember the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror where they all like drag him into the fucking cellar and they leave?
Are you talking about
all the ghosts drag Homer into the ice. The frozen.
You're talking
room.
about the Shining episode, the Treehouse of Horror,
yeah,
the Shining, Shining segment, the Shinning.
Yeah, the Shinning, where they throw him into the meat locker, and it's like 50 ghosts, and there's also like Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, they like drag him out of it.
Oh, they drag him out.
Yeah,
of it.
they drag
okay.
Marge. Put him in there, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. And so it made me think about whenever like all the ghosts are like sucking the life out of her, and then also like got on top of him. I was like, this feels like a Simpsons moment.
Is that what you were thinking when you saw it?
Yeah,
That's
I was
funny.
like, come on. Oh,
That's
bro.
funny. But yeah, fuck. Yeah, that...
Jesus.
I mean,
Christ.
it did bother me a little bit whenever I first saw it, but now it really bothers me. Like,
I'm curious to see what you rate this thing.
well... I am too now. Because, I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about it different than what I originally gave it.
What did you originally give it? Are you open to saying?
I don't know. It is a positive rating, but...
Dude.
Okay, fuck it, I'll say it. Originally I gave this a 7, but I'm leaning towards 6 now. Which 6 means I still like the movie, but just barely. So, I don't know. I don't know which one I want to go with right now.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Man, I think I've ripped this movie apart
Yeah.
through and through.
Yeah, this movie was almost really good.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly... Yeah, it's just the nostalgia stuff. That's what bothers me.
Yeah.
And it kind of ruins it. It ruins it for me, pretty much, almost.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm scared to watch The Shining again, because then I'll think about this. Hopefully that won't happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully that won't happen.
Probably not. But... shit, man. I wish I didn't watch it again.
Yeah, watch a movie with me and I'll make you hate it.
I wonder if we didn't do this, if I just watched it by myself, if I would think that. I don't know, because I didn't think about it before. This is, I think, the third or fourth time watching this.
Oh, really?
At least all the way through, because I did watch like a reaction or two of this on YouTube. I'm not counting that. I want to think this was the first movie that I watched. I mean, no, I think this is the first time I watched this movie in this house. Because I did watch it twice, or did I watch it once before I moved? I can't remember now. Fuck, I don't know. I think I watched it more than once. I know I watched it more than once, at least twice before we saw it today. But yeah, no, I did, like, you know, my first thoughts when I first saw this was like, okay, they didn't have to put that much references to the first movie. You know, when that third act especially came, I was like, I was like, yeah, I was a little. I think this was my reaction, it was a little bit too much, but it didn't piss me off. I was just like, they could have held off of that. Now I'm just like, fuck you, Mike Flanagan. It might not even be his fault. It's probably like the studio or
100%.
Warner Brothers. It's probably their fault because they did the first movie, so they're like, "Oh, you gotta stroke the Shining's dick all over this fucking movie. You gotta
come on, give the people what they want."
Oh God, yeah, nostalgia is ruining movies, man.
It sucks. It's dumb. Make new things to be nostalgic about.
And even TV shows, too. They're rebooting classic shows.
Got me feeling like this, man.
Yeah.
Gotta hide my face.
I'm not looking forward to the new King of the Hill, which I don't even know if they're going to do since the guy who played Del Gribble died.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I haven't heard.
Crazy.
But you heard about that, right?
Yeah, but it's like that's still pretty crazy to me.
But yeah, like it's supposed to be next year. They're supposed to reboot King of the Hill. Excuse me. And
why?
For one thing, they canceled the show because Brittany Murphy, who voiced Luann, died. So it's kind of dumb. So you can't. I don't know about if they're going to have Luann then, or even her husband Lucky, because he was voiced by Tom Petty, which is kind of a weird thing, but you know,
wonderful thing.
Yeah, it is.
That's beautiful. God damn it, that was so crazy. Lucky.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're going to do that. And I especially don't know about Dale, since his voice actor just recently passed away.
Just make new things. Just stop.
Yeah,
make new things.
Mike Judge, just make your own shit again. I mean.
What's going on?
You're a talented dude. You did 2 successful TV shows. Why can't you just do another one?
Yeah.
You know?
Do you owe money to the mob or something?
Yeah. He even rebooted Beavis and Butthead. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess he just thinks he needs more money or something. I mean, he did stop doing a lot. He stopped doing some stuff for a while. So, I don't know. I don't know. I still love Mike Judge.
I love him.
But
shout out. But also, I got a lot of questions.
Yeah. But anyway,
are you still mulling over your rating? Because I feel like that's the last thing we got. Like we're talking about King of the Hill. We're
okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So, final thoughts. Nostalgia sucks. If it wasn't for that, this movie would be great. I think that's what I think is what makes this movie not so great. Is the references to the first movie. So with that being said, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It was originally going to be a 7. Whenever I got to redo my rating on Letterboxd now, but it was a 7 after watching it, and originally it was actually 8. I rated it 8 originally, but I put it up to 7 just because I didn't have as much fun with this movie as I did before. But like, fuck. But yeah, 6 out of 10 for me. I'm not going to say this is a bad movie. It's just not a very good sequel. It had very good ideas, and it had original ideas, but
B-U-T-T.
Oh yeah, sorry, but I was like, but it was like, oh yeah, I just said that. Except mine didn't have an extra T. It was just it wasn't, but it was but the original. I mean, 6 out of 10. This movie, 6 out of 10. Go ahead.
Okay, now I don't even know. I was thinking about this because I was like, okay, I was thinking about this during the movie, towards the end of it. I was like, what did I rate last night in Soho? And so
originally it was 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear here. I don't like this movie less than that movie.
Okay.
But what I've got to do in this moment,
I actually do like Last Night in Soho better than this.
You do?
Because I gave that movie an 8, and I think I still stand by it just because I like it. I don't know. Thinking back, I almost want to give it a 7, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I might watch it again, but I do like that movie. I just didn't love it as much as I did the first time. But yeah, go ahead.
And I've got to say this just for like clarification purposes. If I was to redo my rating on Last Night in Soho, I'd give it a 3, and I'd give this a 3.5 out of 10.
This movie?
Yes, I would give Doctor Sleep a 3.5 out of 10.
3.5.
3.5 because I like it better than
Okay.
Last Night in Soho, but it is a 3.5.
3 wow.
It's
3.
It's like again.
I don't want to. I want to go that far.
Again, like the deal is, okay, you can have a cool written story, but if you don't do anything cool with it, your shit sucks.
Yeah.
Like it's like this didn't need to be made. There's no reason to make this if this is what was going to be the end result. So, and not to mention like what you hate most about it, which I hate as well. It just you show the naked woman 10 million times, and that's what kind of rating you're gonna get. Like, I'm happy that she, that naked lady got a job for a couple weeks or whatever. Got paid to put on a bunch of makeup and walk around naked.
Unless that might have just been a CG thing. Most likely.
If that was CG, I want to. Okay, if that was CG, then this movie gets a fucking 0. That's crazy.
I think it was. In fact, maybe all of those ghosts were.
I just hate where things are. Yeah, this movie's a fucking. Cut off the half. This is a 3.
Okay, 3 out of 10.
It's the same. It's Last Night in Soho. It's the same. I give them both 3s. For now on, those will be
okay.
answers. Jesus
I-
Christ.
I'm sure at least the naked lady was CG.
Damn.
I thinking back, that had to be CG. That had to be. That did not look real.
No, it didn't.
That did not look like how she did in the first movie. I mean, obviously the 80s, they didn't have CG. Okay, they did have CG. I don't know in 1980, but Tron came out in 82 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So they were working on it.
But
Pixar started in the mid 80s too. So,
But they're putting makeup on people.
right.
Go
And the
crazy.
makeup, the makeup was great in
Yeah.
the first movie.
Yeah.
I don't know about the other ghosts, how they were in this, but
No idea.
Yep, longest episode. I'm sorry. I'm happy if you made it this far, but
This just like was crazy.
I think that when it comes to movies,
that are
when we have negative things to say, we're going to talk about it over and over and over again.
yeah, that's true.
So I'm sorry if this is our worst episode,
but
but
hey, being a critic, we're living up to our names.
yeah, I think even back whenever I started, and when I very first started this channel, I just reviewed movies.
Yeah.
And my review for Booksmart was about like 30 minutes long.
Oh, shit.
Because I hated it and I just shat all over that movie in that fucking review. Then again, I did love There Will Be Blood, and that was also a 30-minute something.
Ah.
Well, I had a lot of things to say about that movie, but
Gosh.
that was positive things, as Booksmart was negative for the most part.
If I could remember everything that happened in the Holy Mountain, I could make an hour.
Oh, yeah.
If I could remember everything, because there's way too much in that movie to remember.
He loves that movie, by the way.
Probably number 1 for me.
Of all time,
Yeah,
of your
probably.
favorite movies?
Yeah, I mean, what else is that? Videodrome number 2. Number dos.
Videodrome.
Such
Holy Mountain was good, but
Videodrome just gets me in my feels.
I remember you used to love, you used to say Jacob's Ladder was your favorite movie.
That's got to be top 10 still.
Right.
Fantastic movie. Fantastic practical effects. Really weird.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin's my son.
I still think it's
Takes me to heaven.
very strange that my favorite movie still, as of right now, is Eraserhead, and it has been since May 26, 2018. And
That's
the
a
reason
good amount
why
of time.
the reason why I know that date because it was the first time I watched that movie, and that was the day before my birthday.
Aw.
So that was the day before my 20th birthday.
That's cute.
So I remember that very well. And on that day, on the next day, that was the first time you watched it. We watched it the next day after I did
That shit was
on
crazy.
my birthday. And that was actually whenever I saw the Melvins too that night. But before that, yeah, we watched that movie together. I was like, I have to show Cade Eraserhead. I still haven't seen.
Movie.
I still haven't seen a movie that I like better than that. I don't know why. I have seen movies that I do think are better than that.
Yeah,
but,
I know what you mean.
But it just hasn't had none of them. There's been plenty that I loved so much and can say, yeah, they're one of my favorites, and but not as much as Eraserhead. So
there's an energy okay, that's the thing, dude. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Whenever I'm talking about movies, art, music, whatever, Eraserhead's energy, the look, what it's giving you, and what you're receiving is what's important. Like, it's like a whole universe within itself. A beautiful, horrifying, strange universe that attracts you. It's the same thing with The Holy Mountain for me and Eraserhead. I like Eraserhead a lot.
yeah,
But The Holy Mountain is like a whole universe within itself, a whole work of art that is grabbing your attention. You know, it's more than just a movie. It's more than just something to be bought and sold. Like, it has that transcendence in it that's in every good piece of art. You know? So, this movie didn't have the transcendence. Dr. Sleep did not have it. So, I didn't like it.
What about The Shining?
Has a transcendence.
Okay,
Definitely has something that transcends time and people. It's beautiful.
Right.
But yeah. So yeah, man. Long episode.
Yeah, and we apologize for that. I'm so sorry.
I'm not fucking sorry.
Just be thankful it's not 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
And just be
it's
thankful.
Not even 30, almost 30, but
Be thankful that we don't have a gun to your head making you watch it. Oh, you can click off anytime you want.
like I had a gun to Cade's head while watching this movie. No,
I had a gun to the TV the whole time. Anytime the bad guys would show up, I wanted to shoot their stupid hats off their dumb heads.
I think only 2 of them had hats. Rose and
Crawdaddy.
Crow Daddy. We didn't even talk about him.
Crow Daddy's dope, and everything he's in. In everything he's in, I love him.
That actor.
This one, they didn't let him, you know, do his thing too much, but I don't know his name, but he is a very handsome, very good actor. Loved him in Westworld. His episode where...
What's Westworld again? I've heard of
So
that
the deal
show.
is, it's like, it's in, I guess, the future. It obviously had to be. And it's like, you go to this theme park where you can basically live your life as you were a cowboy. You can shoot whoever you want. You can have sex with people.
I thought,
It's like animatronics.
I think it wasn't based on a movie like from the 70s.
Yeah, shitty ass 70s.
Okay.
It was fun.
All right, I think I need to check that movie out or that show out. Well, the movie too. Maybe,
You would like the show, I
but the show, ever Rachel Wood's in it, I believe, right?
I have no idea.
You don't even know who that is. Okay, well,
I have no idea.
that's the only actress I know in that is Evan Rachel Wood. But
There's some good actors in it. I think
Westworld.
the conversations about humanity are interesting.
As soon as I turn this off, I'm gonna look it up on the Roku. So
On the Roku.
I don't know if I'll watch it yet, but I'm gonna see if it's streaming anywhere.
But he's wonderful in that show. I love him.
Okay,
Great.
Crow Daddy.
Crow Daddy. Yeah. Man, they should have made... Man, he would have been a great... I love Crow Daddy. Anyway.
Anything else?
That's everything.
Okay. So 6 out of 10, 3 out of
3 out
10.
of 10. Hey, and if any of you are aspiring horror movie directors, actors, whatever, visual artists, man, do your thing. Have your nightmares. Make them reality. We love you. Okay? That's my spiel.
Far out.
Far out, man.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, so there it is, our episode of Doctor Sleep. I almost said Strange. Doctor Sleep. So if you made it this far, you're a god. Yeah. No, thank you very much, though. If you made it this far, so I'm thinking the next episode is either going to be Ex Machina. Or something else. Maybe something if you want to choose a movie. But
Did I choose this one last time?
you did.
Holy shit.
Because I had you choose between this and Ex Machina.
Let's do Ex Machina.
Ex
Let's do
Machina?
Let's do it, yeah.
Okay.
I've never
I
watched
think you probably will like that movie.
Okay.
Maybe you'll have a little bit of issues, but not like too bad. I think you'll like it.
We gotta watch
It's an
Whiplash
A24.
soon.
It's an A24 film.
Oh,
So
that'd be fun.
yeah, we gotta do
I
Whiplash
want
too.
to watch Whiplash so bad. Not my typical.
Well, maybe after Ex Machina, maybe we'll have a movie you choose, and then we'll do Whiplash. But yeah, okay. So tune in to the next episode, which will be Ex Machina. That'll be episode 15. So yeah. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, almost 30 minutes, it probably will be by the time we end it. So please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell, and we'll see you later. All right. Peace.
Dr. Sleep, more like put you to sleep.